Shalom, friends. Akiva here with Israel in 5, and I want to share with you a great opportunity to win a free trip to Israel. Yes, a free trip to Israel through Meir Panim, who is running a very exciting and important raffle. This is your chance to explore the historical and spiritual wonders of Israel and at the same time help Meir Panim's emergency aid program at this very, very crucial time in Israel's history. The winner will get 2 round-trip tickets to Israel, will get luxury accommodations throughout Israel, will get a private tour of Meir Panim's facilities and operations throughout the country and see the impact of its work. You'll get a chance to meet the real heroes of Israel today, IDF soldiers, and you will visit Israel's south to see and visit the communities that were directly affected on October 7th. You'll have an immersive Holy Land experience, and again, at the same time, help Meir Panim, help Israelis in need. We know that for years, for decades, Meir Panim has been helping all kinds of Israelis, from Holocaust survivors to families living under the poverty line to lone soldiers, with meals and with assistance and with all kinds of programs. And this is the time that Meir Panim needs your help, our help, more than ever during these days of war, to continue to help all kinds of Israelis in need. And during these times of war, there are even more Israelis that need Meir Panim's help. So by buying a raffle, you're getting a chance to win this incredible free trip to Israel, and at the same time supporting the very crucial, essential, and important operations and actions of Meir Panim. Click on Israel5.org/donate or go to the link down below. Buy raffle tickets. The more you buy, the more chances you get. And I hope to see you here in the Holy Land. In this week's Torah portion, we learn about the importance of remembering the past and keeping in mind the future. Shalom, my friends. It's Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. This is the first Torah reading of the 5th book of the Torah, the book of Devarim in Hebrew, or Deuteronomy in English. We finished the book of Numbers last Shabbat. And this book of the Torah is very, very different and unique from all the other books of the Torah. All the other books of the Torah are basically God speaking. And this book of the Torah is completely Moses speaking. It doesn't have that typical phrase, and God spoke to Moses saying. Right? This is all Moses giving one long speech, starting 5 weeks before he will leave this world, and basically sharing with the nation his last teachings and last bits of wisdom and advice before he leaves the world and they go on into the land of Israel. And in this week's Torah portion, it all starts off with him basically recalling the various places that they traveled through and the different events that they experienced. And right away, as he's standing in front of the nation, again, with his last 5 weeks to live, and giving over to them, sharing with them what he wants to impart to them before they go on without him as a leader, it's very interesting that he decides to kind of give this little history of where they've been the last 40 years as they've been wandering around the desert. And it shows us a very important lesson about the idea of, like, sometimes we need to stop, we need to pause, and we need to reflect on where have we been? Where did we go? What did we experience in the places that we went? Right? What has our journey been like up until now? To take that pause, to take those moments, to take those times to reflect in order to better understand what happened to us and why, and what we got out of them, and how we were impacted and affected by them. And also even choose on a deeper psychological level how we want to continue to be or not to be impacted by them. Right? So it's a really powerful thing that Moses is doing at the beginning of this 5-week speech, basically, the last 5 weeks of his life, really imparting to the nation this idea of the importance of, at times, sometimes, reflecting on the past before moving forward. But at the same time, this week's Torah reading coincides with the Shabbat right before the holiday, or the day, I should say, of the 9th of Av, of Tishah B'Av, which is a fast day in the Jewish calendar, the end of a 3-week period that focuses on the mourning over Jerusalem, of the destruction of Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, and the temple that stood there. And the 9th of Av, as we're going to talk about in a couple of days in a separate video, is a very, very heavy day. It's a very, very intense day, a day of sadness, of crying, of mourning over what the Jewish people, and even I think we can say the world lost when Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans 2,000 years ago. But the Shabbat before is something very interesting. Shabbat in and of itself never contains any aspect or rituals or customs of mourning, right? Shabbat is beyond that. And if somebody, God forbid, lost a loved one, a close family member, and they're sitting the 7 days of mourning, as is a custom in Judaism, on Shabbat they don't sit for a day of mourning, right? Because on Shabbat there's no mourning. So the Shabbat before the 9th of Av, the Shabbat before this very intense day, this fast day, which is this Shabbat, has a very special name. It's called the Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat of Vision. Why? Because it's named after the Haftorah reading, the extra reading that we read from the Hebrew Bible after we read out loud the Torah reading of the week. And it talks about the vision, right? A vision. And in Hebrew, vision means looking forward towards the future. What's your chazon? What's your future? What are you looking forward to? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to strive for? What are you striving for? What are you yearning for? Right? So in this week's Haftorah reading, and this Shabbat, this whole Shabbat has this energy, this essence of chazon, of vision. Why? Why specifically the Shabbat before Tishah B'Av? Why specifically the Shabbat before the 9th of Av, this fast day? Do we focus on vision? Because we know, or we're being told that we should know, it's so important to know that the story doesn't end with destruction. The destruction is not the end of the story. It's a piece of the story. It's a very important piece of the story, but it's not the end of the story. We need to have vision to realize that there's more to the story after the destruction. We have to be able to see with our vision. We need to be able to have the vision of seeing beyond the destruction and knowing that life goes on, that we have to go on. And no matter how intense the destruction was, yes, we need to remember it. Yes, we need to mourn it. Yes, we need to deal with whatever impact it has on us. But we also need to be moving on. We need to be able to move on. Simply, we need to move on, right? And having that chazon, that vision, right? That there is life after destruction. There is life after calamity. There is life after traumatic experience, right? But it's really in our hands. And so the Shabbat, even before the 9th of Av, we're reminding ourselves, don't get stuck in the morning. Don't get stuck in the tragedy. Don't get stuck in focusing on the destruction. Yes, take time to do those things and then move on. Never forgetting, but always moving on, right? And that's the vision of this Shabbat, and that's the vision of Judaism, right? No matter what happens along the way, we keep moving on. We keep our eyes on the future, right? Because we know that that's where we're headed, and that's where we want to arrive at, right? And even on a different level, we want to bring the future into the here and now. We want to combine those realities, the here and the now, and the future reality that we're waiting for, that we're trying to build, and we're trying to bring. And again, these themes are very strong this Shabbat, right before the day of Tisha B'Av. All the best, my friends, and Shabbat Shalom.